In the last several years, I've had a lot of success when it comes to credit card stacking, and I was able to actually fund my different businesses with no cash, no revenue. Okay, so the thing is that if you are able to properly stack credit cards, you are able to derive more rewards, more cash back, more miles, and so you have a lot of possibilities. So in today's conversation, I'm going to share with you some of the hacks, some of the tips that I learned over the years. So here are some generalities I want you to pay attention to. I first want to explain to you what credit card stacking is, just in case you're not aware of the concept. Okay, let me break it down for you. So when you close your eyes and think about credit card stacking, think about an alternative method of small business financing that actually stacks multiple business credit cards to increase the amount of total capital a small business can access. Okay, so you are stacking multiple business credit cards. You are actually accumulating multiple business credit cards. So credit card stacking really, you can do it individually by, let's say, applying for multiple credit cards at once or via a third party, okay, sometimes called a stacking lender that will help you find and apply for multiple credit cards. So if you're new to the game and you kind of have no idea how to really go about it, I would just suggest that you go to let's say a stacking lender to actually learn a little bit how the whole thing works, okay? But one thing for sure, if you are doing credit card stacking, you are going to realize that the requirements tend to be more lenient than traditional business loans on things like length of time in business or minimum revenue. So some business credit card lenders, I mean issuers, will ask you to be in business for only 3 months or maybe 6 months, but not 1 year. They usually have, or they can say like revenue 10 grand or 50 grand a year or something like that. So pretty flexible, really. Okay. Now the thing is that if you want to go into a credit card stacking, one thing I've seen is that you want to really find and apply for credit cards. I always look for the best credit cards for my business, and so I apply for them. I can access multiple credit lines, and I always want to make sure that I pay down and redraw balances. So you got to have a certain organization internally to make sure that you are paying down and redrawing balances. Don't really just accumulate credit. Don't accumulate just balances on the credit cards and not paying them. If you don't pay them, actually, what will happen here is that your CUR, your credit utilization ratio, will go up, and that's bad for your business credit or your personal credit. Okay, so you want to really pay down and redraw balances. So one thing I've realized that when it comes to credit card stacking is that if you want to fund your business with no cash, no revenue, you are able to understand a few things. Let me first give you some details here. What I want to say here is that when you think about credit card stacking, remember that you have a revolving credit limits, right? You have interest on unpaid balance. You have personal guarantee required for certain credit cards. Okay, so if you are stacking credit cards, you are actually stacking the number of personal guarantees that you have out there too. So that's actually the risky part of this whole equation. Okay, so be very careful there. You also got to think about timely payments, and you don't have collateral needed. It's because all the credit cards that I use are unsecured credit cards, unsecured business credit cards. So I don't have to really put any collateral or whatever. No, no, they don't really. They will approve me, no problem. So one thing I want to say here is that your purchases draw from an approved credit limit, okay, and that credit limit actually can increase if the credit issuer, the credit card issuer, sees that you are managing your cards pretty well. When it comes to credit card stacking, one my rule of thumb is that you want to really stop at around five, maximum five. Once you go above five, you got to be really, really super duper organized to really follow up on all those cards. But if you have five, five is pretty manageable. This is a nice number. And just you also want to avoid interest on unpaid balance. Like I said, you can actually draw funds from one card to actually pay the other if you don't have cash yourself. In other words, if you're not generating cash inflow from your business, you're able to just draw cash from one to the other, and you don't have to really take cash physically out. Don't do cash advances. That will kill you big time when it comes to interest and fees. What you want to do is you want to do balance transfers. balance transfers is your way to go. So you transfer balances from one car to another. Okay, and then but see the thing is you got to do this a little bit early. So if you know that your due date is around the 30th of the month or the 5th of the month, you want to really start the process of balance of transferring balances maybe around the 20th or the 25th. So you got a little buffer, okay, when it comes to making sure you are really meeting the goals of the credit card issuer. One thing I've seen when it comes to funding businesses, my businesses with no cash, no revenue, is that credit card stacking still has a few pros and cons. I mean, everything is not rosy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this is the most perfect strategy, but it's a strategy that worked for me. Okay, because you have no collateral requirement. I said this before. You have multiple 0% introductory periods that are really stacked upon one another. That's the thing, because when you're stacking three or four or five or even 10 business credit cards, you are really stacking multiple 0% introductory period offers. Okay, and that's the game you want to play. You want to go from one 0% period to another by transferring balances. Okay, and you are able to access funding quickly. Just make sure the cash that you get from the you just make sure the funding you have from the credit card, you use it for business purposes. Please don't go to vacation in Acapulco. No, you want to use it for business purposes. You want to really maybe buy inventory. You want to really maybe I don't know, like pay suppliers. You want to take care of advertising, social media advertising, digital advertising, all that kind of stuff. Okay, whenever it's possible for you to pay your suppliers without actually paying through cash, you want to use that. Okay, and you also want to pay attention to making sure that you are building business credit. Simply because you're stacking credit card doesn't mean that you can't really you have to build business credit. In other words, the credit card issuer has to be able to report your data to Dun and Bradstreet, and that can happen once a month. It can happen once every 2 months, once every 3 months. But the thing is that you absolutely want to make sure they are reporting your data to Dun and Bradstreet, Equifax Business, and Experian Business. That way, you can gradually just increase your payday score when it comes to Dun and Bradstreet or your other business credit scores. Because of what you want to do is you want to really you want to get to your goals, multiple goals at once. In other words, fund your business through a credit card stacking, but you also want to build business credit through credit card stacking, so you can really borrow more. You can increase your credit limits. But please don't forget that you might have high interest rates and fees. Okay, you might have to manage multiple accounts, and in some cases, this whole credit card stacking thing could affect your personal credit. So those are things that I want you to really monitor. Okay, so that you are actually on the right side of the equation. So when it comes to a credit card stacking, if you want to fund your business with no cash, no revenue, you have to understand that there is a cost. There is a cost involved. There is a series of expenses that really are going to eat into your cash inflows. Okay, but when you think about the ROI of the credit card stacking strategy, it's still a very wonderful strategy. In other words, the cost is actually relatively lower when you consider the benefits. Okay, but don't forget that if you want to do a credit card stacking, you might have, and you go through a stacking lender. If you go through a stacking lender, you might have to account for stacking lender fees. Okay, and they charge a lot of cash. I mean, they charge like they can charge all the way to a 10%. 10%. They can charge you a 10% fee. I mean, I've seen stacking lenders that charged as much as 15%. I mean, the thing is, there's no regulations in this industry, and you see a lot of players do whatever they want to do, and this is something that's really bad. But hey, listen, it is what it is, and if you are trying to really get into that field, you have to really be aware that something is going to happen when it comes to cost. So you have to account for the stacking lender fee. Okay, so they're charging you anywhere from 7% to 15%. For example, if a lender charges a 10% fee and approves you for 120,000 in credit, you would owe $12,000. That's really how costly the whole fee is. And you also need to account for annual fees. So if you are going to use a credit card stacking to fund your business with no cash, no revenue, you want to be aware of the fact that some credit cards, like the one from Chase, they're charging you, Chase or Bank of America or American Express, they're charging you like annual fees upwards of $600. That's a lot of cash. But hey, listen, as long as you are able to offset that cost with traveling, with spending on the card, you are good to go. You also got to really account for APRs. You might have APRs that go all the way to 35%, especially if you are carrying balances. Just make sure you could be hit with an APR that goes as high as 35%. Now, you don't have to worry about that if you are taking advantage of introductory 0% APR, because some of those introductory APRs, good thing is they can really go all the way to 18 months. I mean, that's a long time, okay? So it's like you borrowing money literally with no interest, okay? And there could be other fees also, like cash advances, balance transfer fees, and international transactions too. So you want to really make sure that you are avoiding cash advances because of the high APRs and fees as well. What I do to fund my business with no cash, no revenue through credit card stacking is actually to look at the right target credit cards, the right target business credit cards. I mean, I focus on certain cars. I don't waste my time with other cars. It really depends because some credit card issuers are friendlier to business owners than others. Okay. But the thing is that if you are listening to me right now and you want to use a business credit card stacking, just remember that the practice is actually good for it. Certain industries is actually good for it. Certain, let's just say certain companies, and not really recommended for other companies. Okay, so if you're listening to me and your business needs immediate funding, then you could really think about credit card stacking. If if you are a business owner and you are unable to secure financing, who knows, because of you have bad credit scores, or stuff happens, you file for bankruptcy or whatever. I mean, if you can't really secure financing, then credit card stacking could be really interesting for you. Okay. And if you are a business owner, you have no machinery, no assets, you can also think about business credit card stacking. And if you are a startup, okay, if you're a startup, it could be really complicated. It could be really complicated to access funding when you think about it. I mean, a lot of lenders don't want to hear anything about your business because you haven't proven the business model yet. The business model, they want to see what they call proof of concept before. Okay, now what I want to say here is that so you have to understand that when you think about stacking lenders, those are third party service providers that really can help you find the best credit cards for startups or small businesses. I use a lot of stacking lenders. If you're interested, let me know in the comment section, and I'll just share with you a few of those stacking lenders. Okay, what they do is that they actually perform research, they compare credit card offers, and they recommend the best stack of cards in terms of annual fees, credit limits, and rewards. They're able to evaluate your credit score, your credit history, your income, and other relevant qualifications to determine the best credit cards for your business. And the cool thing is they also provide tools, resources, and advice for multiple credit card applications, or even assist you with the actual application process. They will also guide you, okay, if you're interested. They'll guide you to get the best offers, such as cashback, points, or miles across multiple cards. And they can teach you how to manage your multiple cards to avoid incurring excessive debts or high fees. And so those are things that they're really good, okay? And so you want to really, really, really work with them because they have the expertise anyway to actually get things done faster. Let me share with you a few DIY tactics that I use to actually do credit card stacking on my own. Because if for any reason you're telling me, listen, the fees they're charging, the fees that credit credit card stacking lenders are charging, that fee is just too much. I have no time, I have no money, and so I'll do it myself. What you want to do if you want to do things solo, you always want to start by getting pre-qualified. Let me repeat that. You want to get pre-qualified. Okay, don't risk your FICO score right off the bat. You want to really get pre-qualified so that you know whether or not you have a chance to qualify in the first place. Okay, and once you go through the pre-qualification process, you want to choose your credit cards, the specific credit cards that will help you. I mean, credit cards are different. Business credit cards are different depending on the industry you're in, or depending on your business also. Okay, and what I want to say here is that you there are several types of credit cards. You have cashback rewards business credit cards. You have points rewards business credit cards. You have 0% APR business credit cards, and you have secured business credit cards. What I love personally, I love points rewards business credit cards and 0% APR business credit cards. So those, in my view, are just the best credit cards, the best business credit cards for stacking, and you're able to get a lot of benefits. And so once you go through those cards, you submit the applications. If God willing, you are approved, you receive your credit cards, and you are able to start using the cards. Let me share with you a few best business credit cards for stacking, and I'll tell you why. Think about the US Bank Business Triple Cash Rewards World Elite MasterCard. This card is great for travel, fuel, dining, office supplies, and phone service expenses. So you have up to 5% cash back, and you have 0% on purchases for the first 12 billing cycles. Fantastic. You have the American Express Blue Business Cash Card. This card is great for expanded buying power. You have 0% on purchases for the first 12 months and up to 2% cash back. Fantastic also. You have the US Bank Business Platinum Card that gives you a long 0% intro period. You have a 0% on purchases for the first 18 billing cycles. And then you have the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited Card. This card is great for unlimited cash back. You have 0% on purchases for the first 12 months and unlimited 1.5% cash back. Fantastic. And finally, you have the Ramp credit card that gives you, there is no personal guarantee, but it gives you up to 20% higher credit limits. And you also have 1.5% cash back. So that's really cool. Let me give you a few extras here. The reason how I'm able to fund my business or my businesses with no cash, no revenue. The thing is that I always pay attention to the time of the year. Okay, I look at the time of the year and I see what kind of promos the credit card companies are having right now. I mean, they have those 0% or cashback or bonus. They have it all the time. So, but you have to time yourself. Okay, and the reason why you want to do this, you want to get the maximum that you can. Some credit card companies like Chase or American Express, they don't want you really stack a lot of their own cards, either business credit cards or personal credit cards. So timing is important. So the time of the year is important. Then you also want to look at the credit card issuer, themselves to see exactly what kind of practices they have. Okay, and then you want to really look inwards. You want to really look at your own business. You want to look at your own needs. You want to see what kind of expenses you need to have. And you cannot really do this if you don't have a budget. That's why I'm just saying you have to really set a budget. Okay, plan your budget carefully to prevent overspending. You want to monitor expenses. So you want to really have maybe a system to track your expenses. Okay, because you got to really track. I track transactions across business credit cards to identify spending trends. I can use, I use a lot of stuff. I use budgeting apps. I use expense tracking software. And sometimes I create an Excel spreadsheet. It really depends on what I'm trying to really do. And I pay balances on time. I track due dates. I set up automatic payments. I use rewards to offset charges. I actually make sure that I separate personal and business expenses. And I maintain a low CUR. That's how I'm able to really keep my credit score high. If you have a low credit utilization ratio, you are going to really increase your credit score big time. Okay, and one thing I want to say here is that don't really get scared because You're thinking that credit card stacking is illegal. No, it is not. It is not illegal. It is perfectly legal. Okay, credit card stacking is not illegal and can be a viable financing option for your business if you actually find it challenging to qualify for, let's say, traditional loans. So here's an epilogue into this conversation. I spoke to you about how I'm able to fund my business or businesses with no cash, no revenue. I give you the generalities, the details, the smart moves, the target, the DIY tactics, the extras, and now the epilogue. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.